Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's our preview for the Western Cape race meeting out of Durbanville on the 1st of October. It's Matchem Stakes Day, of course, and the Hollywood Bets Durbanville meeting. Very competitive, nice big fields, quality, particularly in that Matchem Stakes. Even if you're not going to have a bet, you'll be wanting to watch that. But of course, this preview is about having a bet, so let's get straight onto it and share the screen for you. And let's pick up with what we've got as far as the card changes are concerned. So let's quickly look at the card changes. At this early juncture, race 3, number 12, Cybertix is out, which means this horse, number 15, Captain Cola, comes in and will race from draw 12, but no jockey declared yet. A couple of equipment changes. There's some blinkers on race 3, number 3, and race 5, number 8, but not that much to report right now. That could change overnight, so I always encourage folks at just before you put your bets on to double check scratchings, jockey changes, etc. Let's get on to the first race. Well, this does look like number 11, Red Sash, despite the draw being a concern. She is drawn 11, so she has to come over from that worst draw, whereas on debut, she had the best draw. She was drawn 1 out of 12 and was backed and very nearly won, was just failed to catch country time. So the way she ran on debut, I think they'd be happy to tuck her in towards midfield or the back of the field and let her produce that turn of foot. Number 11, Red Sash, no real value at even money, but I don't think there's too much competition. Number 1, Hot Ice, is expected to improve. Alda de Meyer now rides, tickled up on debut, races from a 1 draw with a nice pedigree. Of the older horses, I think number 3, Georgie George, will confirm the form with number 10, Canatonic. I actually like Georgie George. He tipped it up as a real big outsider last time and was thrilled with his run. He ran second to Love in Winter, but I think, if anything, this race might be stronger. It is a maiden special weights, though, so he still carries 55.5 kilograms. He only got penalised 1 point for running second last time. And the fact that he had dropped down to a 59 was why I liked him last time. So I suppose he's got a chance to run into the money. But the first race does look like number 11, Red Sash, as long as she can overcome that draw. Let's move on to race 2. There's a lot of special weights maiden races. The second race, however, is a middle stakes race, and quite interesting actually, because some useful sprinters participating here. Between them, they've won a few races. The betting suggests, well, you've got a little bit of money for number 8, Giacomo Puccini. I think I was told once I must pronounce it Giacomo Puccini, so maybe I should do that. But I've forgotten what the story was. Terrific run from this horse last time behind Ambiorix. He was receiving only 2.5 kilograms, but he does have to carry 62 from an 8 draw. So he's got course and distance form, and he's obviously going to run well enough. But as far as the win bet is concerned, 62 kilograms is a bit of pudding. And Richard Ferry, that is, has to come over from an 8 draw. So I was looking elsewhere for perhaps some value. Interesting that some money for number 2, Seeking the One, who's a 3-year-old, Louis Nkotwa rides. And what I liked about him is he's only got 54 kilograms. He's much better drawn this time. He was drawn 8 out of 8 last time at Durbanville. He's now got a draw of 2. And perhaps his biggest feather in his cap is that on debut he ran 3rd to Charles Dickens, who looks to be a real smart sort and going through the divisions. So that wasn't a bad run. I think you've got to respect Seeking the One with 54 from a 2 draw. But I don't think the race ends there. Number 1, Rod the Mod, is having his 3rd run after a gelding. I think he's much better than that last start. He's got Grant Van Niekerk on board in a 1 draw. 3, Love in Winter, won pretty impressively on debut. I mentioned that Georgie George 4, and I don't think it's that strong. 4, Barney McGrew, is actually the best weighted according to the computer form, although there's very little between those horses. So Barney McGrew, I'd respect. Skidoo is well in. Not so sure about the riding arrangements, but he does like this course and distance. He's had 9 starts, 2 wins, 4 seconds, and he's only got 54 kilograms. 6, Dean Street, is a very nice horse. I think he'll go through the divisions, this horse. And Interesting that he's dropped back to 1,000. He's got a chance, but at 28 to 10, he doesn't offer much value. I'd rather look at some value for an outsider like number 7, Elusive Trader, who now gets Sandili Mbele on, and once upon a time was 100. Actually, once upon a time was a 106. He's now an 81. How many difference is that? 25 merit rated points drop. So yeah, he could be a horse in a small field to pop up. I thought a nice race, pretty competitive. Perhaps number 2, Seeking the One, just gets the nod in what could be an open race. Okay, enough of the second race. Let's move on to race 3. And here, number 2, Gimmy's Laddie, opened up 18 to 10, shortened 16 to 10 into 14 to 10. He's a son of Gimme the Green Light, and he's taken a while in his 2 starts to get the hang of things. What was interesting was the first run, he was out of the washing and he flew to finish 3rd. Last time, if the distances are to be believed, he moved up to within a length of the leader and then didn't quite go on with it. I'm not so sure if that's exactly what happened in the race, but that's what the computer form tells me anyway. But be that as it may, I think he'll be a lot handier here, particularly from a 2 draw, and he does look like the horse to beat. But it is a special weights maiden. Now, Gimmy's Laddie carries 60 because, like all other horses who've only run the twice, the handicapper hasn't got an official rating for him. I'm sure he's got a rating in his own mind, but he can't apply that until the horse has had a 3rd start. So in that case, a horse like number 10, Autumn Moon, who once was a 75, is now racing off 61, and he's a 4-year-old. He's not got the best of draws. He's drawn 10, is Autumn Moon. He's out from 12 to 1 to 14 to 1, but I like the look of him as an outsider. And indeed, the stable companion, not without a chance either. That's number 1, State of Shock, who at one stage was a 71 and is now a 66, but he'll benefit from a draw of 1. So if you're looking for an older, more experienced horse who's well in, because this is a special weights race, then those 2 Vaughan Marshall horses, 1 State of Shock and 10 Autumn Moon, appealed to me. But in terms of quality and class, you'd expect number 2 Gimmy's Laddie to carry the 60 kilograms and be extremely competitive. The other older horse, quickly worth a mention, is number 4 Donderstorm. But he has to carry 60 kilograms because he hasn't had his merit rating dropped. In fact, it's gone up a bit because he's been running consistently well. So Donderstorm has to carry 60. I'm not so sure he can give Autumn Moon 3.5 kilograms and a beating, to be honest. But he's running well. And of course, that Brett Crawford yard is in good form. There could be improvers elsewhere, but I don't want to dwell on those. For me, 2, the obvious horse, but my little lurkers, the 2 Vaughan Marshall runners who look pretty well in this special weights maiden. Let's move on to race 4 and take you to the betting for the opening leg of the pick 6. Yeah, interesting race because again, a special weights maiden. So if you have a look, number 9, Turn the Page, is only got 55 kilograms. Well, let's have a look at the betting. What have they backed here? Number 7, Tuscany. I think that's a big runner at the weights. Tuscany is a daughter of Gimme the Green Light. Hasn't done too much just yet, but the last start was at Kenilworth around the turn, was drawn 9 out of 10, sort of made steady headway. But again, this being a special weights maiden, she only carries 56 kilograms here. So she's getting weight from all of those horses that, because they haven't had the 3 starts, don't have official merit ratings. Or in the case of Red Kite, she being a 4-year-old filly, has to carry 60 kilograms. So I respect number 7, Tuscany. I didn't particularly like number 9, Turn the Page, although she's only got 55 kilograms. She's got a negative of a 9 draw, and there doesn't seem to be any winners from the 4 races in which she's competed. So I was looking for value with the stable companion. I mentioned already number 7, Tuscany, but I like number 2, Daisy Duke, as well as a possible improver. What's interesting about that is that her brother runs later on in the day. Her brother is Russian Rock, who, of course, won the Guineas of his year. We'll talk about him a little bit later on. I think he's particularly well in at the Matchem. So Daisy Duke for Greg Bortz and Gina Goldsmith, not without a chance there. And if you have a look at the direct line of form between Daisy Duke and Tuscany, they met behind Jewel Ray last time. Tuscany has gone down 1 kilogram and Daisy Duke has gone down 1.5, which would suggest that although Daisy Duke just finished behind her, she might actually, in fact, she actually finished in front of her last time. No, she finished behind. I was right. She finished behind her last time. I think she might actually finish in front of her. So 7 Tuscany, full respect, but 2 Daisy Duke from a 2 draw obviously offers quite a bit of value at 12.5 to 1. There's 2 others that I want to mention. Number 3, Defining Moment, who finally cracks a draw. If you have a look, she hasn't been drawn too well on numerous occasions, and she could be a force to be reckoned with for our good friends Fullard and Drew. Gareth Wright rides there. And the other one is another one of the Snaith runners, number 5, Scardy, who gets Sean Veal. He doesn't often ride for the trainer. In fact, he's had 1 start for Justin Snaith, so he gets a bit of a chance here, half chance. I think the drop back to 1400 will suit number 5, Scardy, the daughter of Vercingetorix, better drawn than last time, and only 54 kilograms. And she was quickening up quite nicely last time. So another potential roughie there in the form of 5, Scardy. Interesting race. Number 8, Yaya Maria, is Suzette Barcy-Viljoen's daughter of Pomodoro. And she's actually the best weighted in the special weights maiden. So I think you've got to respect her chances. Just very quickly over the page, but absolutely no form. But it would be remiss of me not to highlight the pedigree of number 11, Gift from Heaven, who is a sister to no less than Hawam, Rainbow Bridge, and Golden Ducat. And if she is 1/5 of the talent of those, she'll make a presence felt here, but she hasn't made an auspicious start, although interesting, she was tickled up last time at a work riders, but that might be just because somebody recognized the pedigree. And this race doesn't actually suit her because she's still off 58, having not had those 3 runs. But at some point in time, I'm sure she'll improve when somebody mentions that she's related to Hawam, Rainbow Bridge, and Golden Ducat. Right, okay, enough of that 4th race. I spent way too much time on that special weights maiden, and there's another one coming up in race 5. So let's get straight on to that. I love these special weights maidens because they do make you think. And let's start with number 3, Jazz Bella. Well, Jazz Bella is clearly the form horse. Of that, there's no doubt. She's got a pedigree. She's got Richard Faree. She was drawn 10 out of 13 last time. Here she's drawn 3, and she's got excellent form. All of those are positives. The negative is this is a special weights maiden, so she carries 60 kilograms because, as mentioned before, she has to carry 60 because she hasn't got an official merit rating. Having said that, based on what she's produced, she's probably getting a lot higher than these anyway. But truth is, she has to give something like number 7, Princess Louisa, 2.5 kilograms, and Princess Louisa is a year older than her. So I gave that as a little bit of a sneak in the race. Number 7, Princess Louisa. I don't know what happened last time. It was a disappointing run, to be honest. She really should have run better, and she didn't. Lacked extra late. So maybe the drop back to 200, drop back 200 meters to 1400 meters might suit number 4, Princess Louisa. But 3, Jazz Bella, does certainly stand out. Number 9, Jam Jam, gets a kilogram from her, and she gets the booking of Grant van Niekerk. I would respect her. Glenn Cotson's 2-year-olds and now 3-year-olds, of course, because they've just turned, had a tremendous season in KwaZulu-Natal. This filly wasn't in KwaZulu-Natal, but he's got some very nice babies. And this one certainly could improve. She's been improving steadily. She could improve further with number 9, Jam Jam. Anything else that I need to mention? Not really. 10 Fly Better, good place, I suppose. But and so too could number 2, Flying First, who you expect to improve for Dean Canamere and Connections. So she's probably worth putting into the trifectas. That's number 2, Flying First. But for me, Jazabella does stand out, but she has to ship a bit of weight. And number 7, Princess Louisa, for that reason, might be, along with number 9, Jam Jam, some value in the race. Okay, let's move on to race 6. It gets a bit easier now because we have a middle stakes race to go to, race 6, and lots of potential here for some very useful young fillies. Let's start with number 7, Gimme a First, who has only had the one start and was super impressive. It was interesting. There wasn't that much money for her. She was drawn 11 out of 12 up the straight, but she swept on past to beat Betty Boop comfortably, and there's been winners from that form line. So not surprising that tremendous combination of Kaya Stables, which of course is Lady Laidlaw, Dean Canamere and Jean Malherbe, team up again here. They really are prolific, and Jean does a terrific job for Lady Laidlaw in buying her. Of course, if she spread her wings a little bit, she's got some nice horses with Brett Crawford and other trainers. I think Candice Bass Robinson has one, Mike de Kock has a few, but Gimme a First, very impressive turn of foot, and I think she'll run a cracking race. But she does have the draw of 7 to negotiate, whereas number 4, Future Girl, who got well and truly thumped by her on debut, but came out to frank the form impressively, might have improved, and as a result might close the gap. But you'd still got to think number 7, Gimme a First, will have enough in reserve to beat number 4, Future Girl. 2 potential surprises here. There has been money for 6, Butterfly Beauty. I acknowledge that, but I prefer the chances of number 5, Catalea, who also ran behind Gimme a First on debut and actually finished 2.5 lengths behind Future Girl on debut. But the difference here is 4 kilograms. So that would certainly give Catalea a chance of overturning the form with number 4, Future Girl, and would make her more competitive with the favourite number 7, Gimme a First. So plus, she's got a great pedigree. She's a daughter of Silvano out of a Captain Al mare. Grant Fanico rides for the Crawford Yard. But for me, I'm going to go for number 7, Gimme a First. Value with number 5, Catalea. Respect for number 4, Future Girl. And the only other one I would mention is number 1, Act Naturally, who is a big price. She's at 16 to 1. She's got no weight on her back. I'm not so sure how that Gravel Poly form is going to work out, but her debut was behind Pacific Green, and bottom line is she's drawn 1. She's only got 52 kilograms to carry. So Gimme a First and Future Girl have to give her 7 kilograms. Interesting race, but I'm hoping that we see the Kaya Stables colours to form a couple of times on this card. Let's move on to race 7. And this is the Hollywood Bets Diana Stakes, Grade 3. And interesting because Chansonnet looked to have the race at her mercy, but the truth is she's spiraled off the boards. She's almost had her price doubled. She's gone from 5 to 10 down to 9 to 10. She might drift further tomorrow. The reason for that is a touch of support for number 5, but a huge amount of support for the Dynasty filly, owned by Suzette Fillion and Suzette Barcy. That's number 7, Tipsy Tarragon. She's a beautifully bred individual, daughter of Dynasty out of a Gimme the Green Light mare. I'm not sure. I'm putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5 here, but this might well have been bought by John Freeman. John, I think, was involved with the Captain's Ransom deal, and that's the same combination, obviously, Justin Snaith and Suzette Barcy. And what a good purchase she appears to be, because she ran okay, green on debut, and then has won back-to-back. She's only got 50.5 kilograms. She's got to, therefore, Chansonnet, give Tipsy Tarragon 9.5 kilograms. And I think that's why 1 or 2 punters are thinking, well, 5.5 to 1, 11 to 2 was a daft price. Has the value gone? Perhaps, because she's now as short as 22 to 10, having touched 18 to 10. But interesting, nevertheless, if you are taking exotics. So a lot of people are going to bank a chance today. You might want to put in 6 and 7 if you follow, if you follow the money. I do like those 2 in the race, even ignoring the betting. I would have tipped them the same way, 6 from 7. Let's move on to the feature of the day. What a great renewal this is of the Matchem Stakes, the Hollywood Bets Matchem Stakes, Grade 3, and a cracking contest. Let's start with the principles. Number 7, Trip of Fortune. Well, I think it's going to be a very competitive race. And Aldo de Mea, unfortunately, is going to be a kilogram overweight. That might in the close contests come back to be critical. Trip of Fortune, he's supposed to carry 58, he carries 59. Cosmic Highway carries 59. And I think there's not much between, well, I can see there's not much between them on form. If you go back to the Diadem Stakes, which was won in terrific style from Cosmic Highway, that was really a joy to behold, the turn of foot that Cosmic Highway showed in that Diadem Stakes to sweep on past and beat Trip of Fortune. It was lovely to see. Of course, this is his seasonal debut, and likewise, well, not likewise, because Trip of Fortune has had one already. He's got that run under the belt, but it's likewise a seasonal debut for number 9, Pomp and Power. They both have bigger fish to fry, but they could run fresh. Pomp and Power likely to bounce and go, and we know what he's capable of. Number 9, Pomp and Power. But number 10, Cosmic Highway, has got a terrific turn of foot. It's lovely to see it. If he produces that, if he's close enough, even from a 10 draw, he's going to make his presence felt. Number 7, Trip of Fortune. Those of you who listen to me regularly know that he's one of my favorite horses. I was looking to get involved with him to win a big, big race last year. He got gelded. He desperately needed the gelding, and he showed how he benefited from that with a facile and impressive comeback last time. But the truth of the matter is, he's got level weights again with Cosmic Highway, who did beat him, getting half a kilogram in the Diadem Stakes. I don't think that the race ends there, actually. I think there could be a surprise or two towards the top of the card. Number 2, Russian Rock, is extremely well in here on some of his best form through lying back at Trip of Fortune himself and others. Almatana wasn't a bad run, and he, of course, ran in the Champion Stakes and at level weights got within 6 lengths or just under 6 lengths or just over 6 lengths of Jet Dog. He has Grand Bear back in the irons. Now, Grand Bear, as you see, hasn't ridden him for yonks. It's been Keegan de Mela. But Grand Bear was aboard him when he won the Guineas of his year. He's now a 5-year-old. We know, if you follow racing, he's got his problems. He pulls like the proverbial dentist, but he's getting older. And I'm sure Dean has been scratching his head over the last 2 years to try and get him to settle. But they've tried all sorts of things, different bits, whatever you have. But I think if they bowl along here, let him just bowl along over this 1400 off just 57.5 kilograms, he will run a nice race. In fact, in the context of this race, number 2, Russian Rock, is my value bet. To be competitive from 2 draw. And then money for number 1, Resonate. He's also a tremendous individual. I think from a 1 draw with his turn of foot, he also could get a blow in. So it's a great race. Captain of Stealth likely to go up handy. Silver Operator is certainly no mug on his day. That's for sure. So it's a quality race, the Matchem Stakes. To sum up, I'm going for the Canamay runners, 2 and 10, 10 and 2, Cosmic Highway and Russian Rock in the Hollywood Bets Matchem Stakes. What a great race that is. Let's move on to the 9th and last, and then I can wrap it up for you. Yeah, on face value, this looks fairly competitive, but I actually like 2 fancied horses here, which isn't always the case. Those who watch this will know I'm always looking for value and looking for a few shrewdies, but I actually quite like the favourite here, number 5, Michael Faraday. I'll tell you why. He's a Vercingetorix. Aldo de Mea rides. He's drawn in well enough at 5. But again, I come back to that Charles Dickens form. He was level weights and finished 6 lengths behind Charles Dickens, but I don't think that was his best performance. I think he's capable of better, but he kept very good company there, as he did the next time when Dave the King beat him. And then he ran in a graduation behind Light Speed, who I think has gone on to win the Matchem, not the Matchem, the JWS Lungerman. So Michael Faraday, I like. I think he's going to turn out to be quite a nice horse. On a line through him, number 7, Lang's Power can't be that far behind because They met on debut, and Lang's Power was just 2.5 lengths behind. But the danger to Michael Faraday has clearly got to be, and you guessed it, Dean Canamere, Kaya Stables, and Keegan DeMello again. I'm talking about number 8, Cheeky Laddie. They could have a really big day. Kaya Stables. I don't know whether Jahan is back from Goffs. I saw him buying horses there with Mike de Kock. I'm sure he'll want to be back to watch this race meeting because there's a lot of interest here for Lady Laidlaw, and he's done a terrific job with some of these horses in her string. And here's another one, Cheeky Laddie, who, interestingly enough, was friendless in the market on debut, opened up 5-1, drifted up to 7-1, but produced a terrific turn of foot to win. And there's been 3 winners out of that form line. So I think you've got to respect the pedigree. You've got to respect Dean Canamere and Keegan DeMello. And in the case of Michael Faraday, he's actually getting 2 kilograms from that horse, which would therefore probably make him marginally my first choice. Those are the 2 that I like, number 8, Cheeky Laddie, and number 5, Michael Faraday. If they're to let the side down, then what would I say after that? Well, I'll probably be out of most of my bets, but number 1, Teatro, you've got to respect him. 1 draw and Camphor Cliffs from the Crawford Yard. Number 3, Mr. Frosty's an older horse who will benefit from a 3 draw and just carrying 52 kilograms. Plus, he's a white horse. You can never miss him. I mean, he's not, says he's grey, but I think he's more white than grey. 4, Superior Leader, dead heated with Berenberg last time. This is a much tougher field, I think, for both of them. But they could be on the premises, and that's how I see that race. But for me, 8, Cheeky Laddie, and 5, Michael Faraday are the 2 that I like. So that sums up my take on the card for Hollywood Bets Durbanville on Matchem Stakes Day. Really is a great race meeting to get involved with. I've pretty much outlined where I'm going to be at, looking for those Lady Laidlaw silks of Kaya Stables to have a big day in one shape or form. And let's hope that that prevails. But that's the story for Durbanville tomorrow. It's a doubleheader, of course. Nico will be taking care of the Turfentine meeting, but there's plenty of programming on Clocking the Gallop because there will be taker bets for both Western Cape and for the Highveld meeting. And I'll be throwing in a soccershop.bet price booster for the 2 meetings as well. Thanks very much.